massage therapist calls, as they do. And she says, sweetheart, I need you to do me a favor. There's a friend of mine drinking herself to death and I need you to go. And she's at Tivoli Cove. Well, the way God works in my life, I'm driving and 300, 200 yards to my right is Tivoli Cove. So I look up at my sunroof and I go, I'm going to get in so much trouble. But it happens and you go. That's a God shot. So I walk in and I talk to this woman, but I only had 25 minutes. That's all I had. So I get there and she won't come back with me. She will not come back with me under any circumstances. And Candy, this was the closest thing I've ever seen to a wet brain ever without being a wet brain. She was gone. And after 25 minutes, I just started hysterically crying.
I get it.
And I told her, I said, sweetheart, I am sorry. I have run out of time and you are going to die for sure. And I am never wrong about this stuff. And I gave her a hug and a kiss and I said, I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. And I walked out. Cut to 5 years later. Patty's giving me a massage. And she says, do you remember that woman that I asked you to help and do that intervention at Tivoli Cove? And I sat up and I looked at her and I said, don't ever bring that woman's name up to me again, ever.
It felt like a failure.
That woman is dead and it is my fault. And I do not ever want you to bring that up to me again. And she said, okay, sweetheart, lay down. Literally 15 minutes later, she says, sweetheart, do you ever read those children's books that I give you every Christmas to read to the kids? And I said, of course. And she says, do you ever look inside of the inside flap? And I said, no, Patty, why would I do something like that? And she says, oh, sweetheart, you should. And I said, why's that? And she says, because the dead woman became a world-renowned children's author. And every year she writes a note inside the flap to tell your children who her father is.